Hey gang, John Bacarella here with your Lake St. Clair Fishing Report, brought to you by Sportsmen Direct. It is Thursday, November 24th, and happy Thanksgiving. That's right, it is Thursday, Thanksgiving Thursday. And man, I have got some fond memories going back so many years. So I was 57 this week, so my birthday falls in November. Sometimes it falls on Thanksgiving. It's one of those crazy birthdays, right? So like you guys that have it fall around Christmas time. But the only reason why I say that is I have so many fond memories of Thanksgiving going way back. I mean, way back, right? Into the late 70s, early 80s of casting for walleye off of the pier, specifically the pier in St. Clair Shores, Blossom Heath, going, like I said, going way back into the 70s and 80s, and just had some amazing nights, Thanksgiving nights, after eating dinner with the family, going out and then sometimes fishing all night long, casting for walleyes. And this time of the year, you can really just get some beasts and some pretty dang amazing muskie fishing this time of the year as well. As I was just checking out some posts online here before I did the report, and saw that Mike Coleman was back at it again down at the spillway, and I guess he hooked up on one and didn't land it today. Sorry, Mike, but Mike's out there a lot, and that also tells me that ice that was at the mouth of the spillway is probably gone if he was down there casting. Also, Captain Jason Quintano, shout out to you, Jason. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I saw you were out on the lake today, and you did score and got a beast of a November muskie out there, and a beautiful picture too. And we'll have that in the report here. But just a gorgeous fish. And this time of the year, these fish have got the feed bag on. And now that we've got cooler water temps, water temperature, if you remember our last fishing report was, I just checked, we did it 2 weeks ago, and we had 53-degree water temp. Okay, now the water temp out there right now is 36. Okay, I mean, crazy temperature differential out there. Many places froze up. Well, I'll get into it here in a second, but a lot of places skimmed over and froze up, all up and down the lake, all up and down the shoreline. Some places thicker than others, but we had some pretty dang extensive ice for November. We had actually, it was pretty stinking substantial ice, probably maybe the most ice I can remember this early in the season. And like I said, I'm not a spring chicken, so it goes back quite a ways. So, and maybe the last at least 40 years, we had a lot of ice here for this time in November. Let's hope that, I know we got some warmer weather coming in, but hopefully we're way ahead of the game this year with ice this early in the season. So guys, I'm gonna talk a little bit about ice fishing here. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? I've done some crazy stuff in my lifetime out here on the ice. I don't do that anymore, but going back in my younger years, I would have been right out there with Trevor Larson on that 1.5-inch ice, pounding those panfish in the different canals that Trevor was in this week. So shout out to Trevor. I know I saw him at the shop, and I kind of figured he was going to venture out on the ice where he did. But yeah, Trevor got into some nice fish. I am not condoning anybody going out on the ice, especially after the 50-some degrees we had today. But there for a couple of days, that ice in some areas, albeit sketchy, you could get on the ice for those that really wanted to. But some of that ice is probably still going to hold in some of these areas, even through this warm snap. Behind the store at Selfridge, the guys are on the docks now. They are panfish fishing off of the docks. They're doing pretty darn good back there. But for you guys that are dock fishing, bring your spud bar with you now, because even though we've got some warmer temperatures, a lot of these places like behind the store at Selfridge are probably going to stay locked up. There was enough ice back there that I don't think, unless we get some rain or some intense sunshine, I don't think that ice is going to completely go away. So you're going to want to bring your spud bar and probably bring a skimmer with an extension on it, so you can get that ice out of the hole around the docks. But a lot of places froze. So you're going to definitely want to check that if you're going to be casting, although most of the lake ice, I would imagine, is going to be gone here in the next day or two, although there was several hundred yards in some places along the lake and up on Anchor Bay quite a bit. I took a ride by Selfridge, by the boat launch over there earlier this week, and they were pulling the docks that day. I believe they're also pulled at Harley Ensign as well. So if you are going to launch anywhere, you're probably going to want to bring some rubber boots, some hip boots, and you know, when you got two guys, it's not so bad. As long as it's not windy, you can still launch pretty easy. And there is some great fishing out there right now for you guys to still get on. We're supposed to have some nice weather this weekend. I think tomorrow I think is supposed to be a little bit windier, but then on Saturday we're supposed to be in the mid-50s, and I think it's going to be a fairly favorable wind out of the south-southwest. So down on that south end of the lake down there where a lot of you guys are chasing walleyes shouldn't be too bad as long as they're correct on that wind direction. If you take a look at the satellite image, you're going to see that there is a mixture of different water clarities out there. The Canadian side down along that south shore looks like it got beat up pretty good, but then you've got some slots of some clearer water, and if you go up into the St. Clair River and then up through the channels and then all the way up into Lake Huron, you got clean conditions. So that clean water is going to be coming down into the system, and it's going to start to clear things up a little bit as long as we don't get any crazy strong blows. And it doesn't look like I didn't see anything there that's going to tear the lake up too bad in the upcoming forecasts. But anyway, so you got a little mixture of conditions. You don't have to be totally afraid to fish in that dirtier water. I mean, we had guys last year, and I mean, that monster fish that got taken last fall down on the south end of the lake, that came in like water that was like milk. So, you know, it's your baits are running pretty slow. Right now the guys are running those bandits like 40 back and like a little over a mile an hour to a mile and a half an hour is what I'm hearing from the guys. And so you're giving the fish a lot of time to home in on those baits. It's not like you're burning by them or anything, and they seem to be able to find those baits even in that off-colored water. I know one of my buddies, Don Murray, was down there again earlier this week and did really good on the eyes on what I think was a pretty quick trip. And that seems to be the case for a lot of guys from 9 Mile all the way down to the south. But I wouldn't be afraid to fish up on that north end around Grassy, especially in that cleaner water coming down, and then jigging up through the channels and up into the St. Clair River. It should be really good, guys. Just you're in a colder water now, so tip them with those big emerald shiners, and we got those at both the stores. So that'll help increase your success rate now that those water temperatures have dropped down quite a bit. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about here? Let's talk a little bit about weather forecasting and everything. Just getting into this time of the year, normally this is turning into more of an ice report, but it's probably going to turn into an ice report pretty quick once we get into the next cold snap. But right now, looking at the forecasts, and I'm going to talk a little bit explaining about what I do when I look at these forecasts, because sometimes these weather forecasts can be very deceiving depending on what channel or what weather forecast you're specifically looking at. So when I look at Weather Underground, it normally goes out 10 days, and it doesn't go out any farther than 10 days. But what I usually try to watch for at this time of the year is a couple of things. Now, that lake at 36 degrees right now, as you can see, we can make ice. Matter of fact, I've said it many times, once we get below 39 degrees, that surface will super chill, because at 39 water is most dense and it falls. Once you get below 39 degrees, that water holds there, it super cools until it freezes, and then you get ice. So at 36 degrees now, every time we get a situation where we go below freezing and we get the right wind conditions where the water's not moving too much just from mechanical action, it can freeze, okay? And what you want to look at going forward, just so you can kind of read the tea leaves like I do, is I look at the daytime high, I look at the nighttime low, I get an average. If that number is below 32 degrees, I generally take that as a ice building scenario, okay? So if you've got at 32 and 32, right, you're right at freezing. So if your temperature didn't change, then technically you could make some ice that day. If your total of the high and the low ends up being below 64 degrees, I consider that a ice positive day. If it's higher than that, then it can be an ice takeaway day. And this time of the year, you kind of get away with that, whether it's sunny or cloudy. It doesn't really matter because your sun angle is so low at this time of the year. It doesn't have that effect like it does like in March, right? You guys all know how hard it is to make ice like once we get to March. Well, it's the exact opposite right now going into December because that sun angle is so darn low. The rays just kind of bounce off on an angle and you don't really get a lot of absorption of that sunlight into the water to generate heat. So that's how I look at the temperatures going forward. As far as the actual forecasts themselves, a lot of these weather channels or these weather reports, once they get out past 10 days, they go to seasonal average. So once you hit 10 days, like like AccuWeather and some of these other places, they go back to seasonal average. So everybody thinks they got like a cold snap coming up, like once we get into like mid-December, and they see that, oh my gosh, at day 11, the temperature just falls off. Probably not, because it's probably just a seasonal average that they're putting in there. If you look at Weather Channel, they're like monthly reports. When they go to seasonal average, they tell you that they're reporting an average, okay? And I think they go out like 15 days on their report. So what I tend to do when I'm looking out forward to see what we have coming weather-wise is I'll go to the Weather Channel and I'll look at day 10 through day 15, and I'll just keep, sometimes if I'm getting really desperate waiting for the ice to come, I'll start marking down the numbers of what they're reporting, and I want to see if that forecast is going up or is it coming down. So are they forecasting warmer temps, or are they slowly backing those temps off because they think it's going to get colder? So anyways, that's just trying to put some method to my madness of how I look at the upcoming weather forecasts as far as what kind of weather we've got coming in. And a lot of times I use that for our ordering even at the store, because I'm trying to forecast out here a couple of weeks to make sure I got the right inventory in for you guys, depending on, especially if we're going to get ice coming in. So that's just in a nutshell what I do as far as the weather forecasting and all that kind of stuff. So one other thing that's a factor this year, Great Lakes water levels are down like 2 feet, okay? So what that generally means for us, especially on Lake St. Clair, with the water levels down and the Great Lakes water levels down, you just got less water to cool off, okay? And on Lake St. Clair, that's a big factor, because down 2 feet, that's like a 20% change in our water volume out here on the lake. That's pretty dang significant, which I think is one of the reasons why we cooled off so fast, especially with the winds and everything that we had. Cooled off so fast and got us down to that ice-making temperatures now. So I think that's gonna be a benefit to us going through the rest of the season. So it also tends, guys, this is kind of a common sense thing, especially if you're fishing areas like in shallow in a lot of these canals. This low water tends to concentrate the fish. In some areas, like off of Metro Beach, I mean, it really physically concentrates the fish, because if you were thinking about it, you were in areas last year catching fish that you might only been in 2 feet of water. Well, now that's almost dry land right there. So now those fish are getting pushed out. It kind of condenses everything down, so you got less water to search for those fish, and even top to bottom, right? If your water volume is less, so it's easier for you to find fish when the water levels are lower. It's just a fact. It is what it is. So that's what I wanted to say about the water levels. I keep forgetting to talk about that on these reports. So let's see, we talked about satellite images, talked a little bit about the walleye and everything. I think that's really about all I've got for you guys this week. Got a lot of sales at the store this weekend. Actually, we started earlier this week. We started Black Friday sales on like Monday, and those sales are gonna run all the way through Cyber Monday. If you guys are out there watching on the internet and you're waiting for me to put extra stuff online, it's not gonna happen. Everything that's on sale is on sale right now, going through Cyber Monday. Open water rods and rod combos in the store. A lot of them are 50% off on the rods and rod combos, 40% on open water reels. Tightline Extreme reels are on sale. A lot of our Ice Hopper ice rods are on sale. A lot of good deals in there, especially on travel covers and stuff like that for your shanties. So it's a great time to save some money. Even Bandits still on sale. JT Custom Bandits are still on sale at the store as well. So get in there. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you didn't eat too much today, but the weather is going to be awesome this weekend. Get out and enjoy it, and we'll see you in the shops this weekend. Hey, if you like this video content and you want to get updated as soon as the next video is out there, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon, and you'll get notified as soon as the next video is up.